All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a principle of strategy that, let's be honest, goes against pretty much everything we're taught about being a good person: the incredible power of concealing your intentions. So, the core idea here is really simple. Being an open book makes you predictable. And in the game of strategy, being predictable means you're powerless. Think about it. If nobody has a clue what you're actually trying to do, how can they possibly stop you?
Most of us are brought up to be open and honest. We say what we feel, we share our big plans. But in the world of strategy, this is framed as a massive weakness. Why? Because it makes you an easy read.
And this right here just lays it all out. On one side, you have the open book, totally predictable and pretty easy to counter. But on the other side, you've got the strategist. They control the flow of information. By staying unreadable, they keep everyone else guessing. And, well, they hold all the cards. So I gotta ask, which one sounds more powerful to you?
Okay, so how do you actually do this? Well, the first big strategy is what's called the active feint, or the red herring. This isn't just about keeping your mouth shut, it's about actively throwing out decoys to send people charging down the completely wrong path. Let me give you a fascinating example from history. The famous courtesan Ninon de Lenclos cooked up this brilliant three-step plan for a young marquis who was desperate to win over a countess. Now notice how every single step, acting distant, sparking a little jealousy, was designed not to show his love, but to hide it, to make him this irresistible puzzle that she just had to solve. But, and this is the crucial part, it all fell apart. The Marquis just couldn't handle the suspense. He caved, went against the plan, and just blurted out that he loved her. And in that one single moment, poof, the entire illusion was shattered. The mystery was gone, and so was her interest. See, the Marquis failed because he didn't have that patience, that self-control. So now, let's pivot to someone who was an absolute master of it, a guy who used the red herring not for love, but to build an entire nation, Otto von Bismarck. So, picture this, it's 1850. Prussia is just itching for a war with Austria. Everyone expects Bismarck, this famous military hawk, to be leading the charge. But then, he gets up and does the exact opposite. He gives this incredibly passionate speech against the war, arguing for peace. Everyone was stunned. And that was the genius of the decoy. That one speech made the peace-loving king trust him completely. It got him the #1 job in the government. And from that position of power, he built up his army and eventually achieved his real goal, winning the very same war he had so passionately argued against. A masterclass. Okay, so a red herring is all about creating this flashy, noisy distraction. But what if you want to be more subtle? That's where the smokescreen comes in. Instead of a bright, shiny object, this tactic uses a bland, almost boring, familiar front to lull your target into a false sense of security. The whole idea here is that familiar things are disarming, right? When we see something we think we understand, like a normal business deal, our guard just drops. We stop looking for hidden motives because the surface looks so ordinary. And that's exactly when you're most vulnerable. The legendary con artist Yellow Kid Weil was an absolute master of this. Just look at this incredible con he pulled on a millionaire named Sam Giesel. The bait wasn't some wild, unbelievable scheme. It was a simple real estate deal. Plausible, logical, and it completely took over Giesel's focus. That was the smoke. Because Giesel's brain was so locked into the business deal channel, he completely missed all the absurd stuff happening right in front of him. This out-of-shape boxer, a spontaneous, high-stakes bet. None of it registered as suspicious because his attention was laser-focused on that smokescreen, and he walked right into the trap. So how did these masters of misdirection actually pull this stuff off? Well, it turns out they're tapping into some really basic human psychology. Let's break down the core tools in the deceiver's arsenal. These 4 are just so powerful. False sincerity works because, honestly, we want to believe people are being genuine. A noble gesture is a brilliant shield. I mean, who's going to question a selfless act? Establishing a pattern is like rocking your opponent to sleep right before you make your move. And blending in, that's the ultimate camouflage. You can't defend against a threat you don't even see. Okay, but here's the thing. All these tactics, they have a catch. They really rely on you having some element of surprise or trust on your side. They work best when your target doesn't already see you as a potential threat. So that brings up a really interesting question, right? What do you do when your cover's totally blown?
when everybody already knows you're a player and they're just waiting for your next trick? And the answer is kind of a brilliant reversal. You own it. You just lean right into it. The great showman P.T. Barnum figured this out. Once his reputation was out there, denying it was useless, so he embraced it. And he found out something amazing. People often want to be deceived, as long as it's entertaining. But this reveals something really important about deception. Yeah, the big, flashy P.T. Barnum spectacle, it works. But it's a short-term game. It burns out fast. The real long-term power, as you can see here, is in that bland exterior, the smoke screen. It's more sustainable because it never draws enough attention to itself. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? In this world where we're all about oversharing, where information is everywhere, maybe the greatest power of all isn't in what you broadcast, but in what you strategically and masterfully decide to conceal.